high and the mighty will fall. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Happy New Year. You're listening to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metza. Delighted to have my guest and my old buddy Larry Long on for the whole show tonight as we kick off the year 2024 and the Wall of Power Radio Hour. In just a few months, we'll be celebrating our 10th anniversary. So we've got a great guest in the lineup to our 10th anniversary. First show of 2024. Larry Long is a singer-songwriter, poet, storyteller, performer, educator, and activist. Author Studs Terkel called Long a true American troubadour. When Pete Seeger was told that Larry is often referred to as the Pete Seeger of Minnesota, Pete replied, "I would be honored to be called the Larry Long of New York." It doesn't get any better than that. Here's a man I've known for and played with for on and off for over 40 years, Mr. Larry Long. Larry, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Paul. I just want to thank you so much for having me on your show, and congratulations for 10 years.
Yeah, it's been fun. I enjoy it, and it enables me to get, my motto for my show, Larry, is cool people from all walks of life in all 50 states. And you certainly are in that category. The other thing, what's nice about having your own show is you can have friends of yours on, which is what we're doing tonight. And you've got a couple of great projects out. Let's start with the re-release of your 1987 record, Sweet Thunder. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it was released originally on Flying Fish and Rounder Records, and then I was able to get the rights to all of my recordings back. And this recording has never been released on digital platforms. It's been out of print for a long time. And so I built a partnership with Rock the Cause and Larry Long Music through Sony Orchard Music to get everything up online. And so Sweet Thunder at last finally got re-released, and it's like a brand new record. These folks have never really heard it.
You know what? It's interesting you should say that, Larry, because I can't remember if Scotty Harold, the head of Rock the Cause, is a great guy. I've worked with him on and off for several years. He's a great guy. If he sent it to me or if you sent it to me, but I was listening to it and I was so knocked out by the audio quality and the warm sound of it. Then when I'm looking at the credits, I go, well, of course, this makes complete sense. It was recorded at Steve Weiss's Creation Studio, engineered by none other than Chopper Black and the great Lynn Peterson, and produced by Billy Peterson and yourself, Larry Long. Features musicians like Claudia Schmidt, Michael Johnson, Bruce Kurnow, Dave Carr, Leo Kottke, Peter Ostrushko, and Billy Peterson, and more. So how can it not be anything but a really stellar project? So I'm really, I don't remember hearing it when it first came out, but it really, the songs are great. The fidelity is phenomenal. So 5 stars on it.
Chopper Black and Lynn to thank for that, especially Chopper. We just slaved over this. It was a labor of love. I'm really grateful. And Billy Peterson, of course, is a genius of Billy P. He brought in Michael Johnson and Leo Kottke into it, and that really transformed the record, I would say.
Well, not only does Billy Peterson is one of the best bass players in the world and a great producer, but he's also got a pretty cool Rolodex. So it was cool when I saw that Leo and Michael Johnson, may he rest in peace, played on your record. It must have been a lot of fun seeing those guys walk through the Creation Studio doors.
It was just wonderful, and they're just wonderful people. They're good people with good hearts, and Michael, as you said, God rest his soul, what a gentle, kind heart. And master guitar player besides a vocalist.
And
very kind human being, and miss him greatly.
Yeah. So you were on Flying Fish Rounder. I believe you had a record or two on Smithsonian. Am I correct there, Larry?
Yeah, I have 3 recordings on Smithsonian Folkways.
Wow.
One actually, I was put into a compilation of children music, and I have a song in that collection along with Woody Guthrie and Huddy Leadbelly and Cisco Houston and Pete Seeger. So it was released by Smithsonian Folkways in like 2001. So I'm very honored by that.
Well, that's pretty good company. Larry, it brings me to my next question. Of the biggies you just mentioned, who was your first major influence, Woody Guthrie or Pete Seeger?
It was definitely Woody Guthrie. I mean, it was through Bob Dylan, of course. Listening to his early records, Freewheeling and that stuff. And then when I heard his song for Woody, I got drawn to Woody, and I actually picked up the book Bound for Glory. And it was really through the book of Bound for Glory that I kind of dedicated my life to this tradition, because I had a lot of tragedies when I was young, and Woody had a lot of tragedies when he was young. And Woody came out of it with the slogan, we're born to win, we're not born to lose. And I needed to hear that at that time of my adolescence. And so I just set out with a guitar to do it, yeah.
So how old were you at that point, Larry?
Well, my father passed when I was 12, and I picked up the guitar shortly after. And I think I could have read Bound for Glory when I was 14.
Okay.
And it transformed my life. And, out of that, I dedicated a lot of my life to that tradition. And I actually went to Okemah, Oklahoma, and I'm the person that brought Woody Guthrie home with Children of Oklahoma in 1987, and that recording is going to be re-released soon. It was a live recording from Okemah, Oklahoma, Woody's hometown, recorded on December 1st, 1988.
So tell us about, because I've always had such admiration for you, Larry Long, for bringing Woody's legacy, life, and travels back to his hometown of Okemah. What was that journey like? Because it wasn't all roses, correct?
Well, none of this is roses, right? Life is a struggle. And
well, I get that.
I was so much younger then, and when I went into Okemah, Oklahoma, I actually was first brought into Tulsa, Oklahoma, to sing for Woody Guthrie tribute as part of the Mayfest celebration in 1980. And then the folks there in Oklahoma they adopted me. They thought that what I was doing was in the Woody tradition, and I got sent out all over the state of Oklahoma to the State Arts Board to actually write songs with youth in the tradition of Woody Guthrie. And so I circled Okemah over a 3-4 year period, working in these Dust Bowl towns. And eventually when I came into Okemah, I had built enough of a good reputation in the state that the local principal, Dr. Larry McKinney, took me right under his wing and said, we want to do it here, and it's time that we bring Woody home. And so through the good graces of Dr. Larry McKinney and other local folks like Olin Edwards and Carolyn Price, remarkable good people with the same sense of humor of Woody. Because Woody Guthrie, his lyrics and humor came right from the heart of that red dirt of Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And people of Okemah were cracking jokes like Woody, and I would just laugh at all the time because they're funny and they're really, really good people. And so anyway, it was really through working with the children that we were able to do it, because there were a couple of folks who were really opposed to bringing Woody home, a banker and a mortician who I met and one I became friends with, but I had to sleep with one eye open. I was afraid a rifle would be drawn and put me out of my misery, because it got pretty intense. I have very large archives of this whole thing. I'm not writing a memoir to include it, but I became a target of a lot of people's vengeance once I succeeded in this celebration. So it was kind of tough.
because they all consider him a crazy communist. And getting back to your the concept of Woody's humor, I always loved his line. He said, "I'm not a communist, but I've been in the red most of my life." We're going to listen to Larry Long's song, Road to Freedom, right now. We got Mr. Long on for the whole show tonight on the Wall of Power Radio Hour.
All that is will surely change. Flesh will go, but the heart remains. We all ride a single train. It's life's only road to freedom. With each mile that we go, listening to that whistle blow, the more we hear, the more we know we're on that road to freedom. We're on that road to freedom. Yes, we're on that road to freedom. We have been to both sides. Walls can't hold what love won't hide. Papers talk, powers lie. People, we know that road to freedom. Yes, we're on that road to freedom. Yes, we're on that road to freedom. While the world splits in two, talk of war, all will lose. Let us sing, let us choose to bridge the walls to freedom.
Welcome back to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metza. My guest on for the whole show tonight, my old buddy, Larry Long. We ended the first set with a song of his called Road to Freedom off his new digitally remastered record, Sweet Thunder. Originally came out on Flying Fish Rounder Records in '87. That song featured, I believe, not only the guitar, but the vocal of the late, great Michael Johnson. Larry, tell us about the song and playing with Michael.
Boy, playing with Michael. I mean, you can tell from that song and the clarity of the notes that ring out that he was known often. He became well known as a country singer, but his guitar playing comes out of classical flamenco style of playing on a nylon string guitar, and Billy, what you hear on that is Billy's upright bass and Michael's guitar playing, and then his sublime harmony, with me on the chorus.
Larry, when I've listened to almost the whole record, and I really enjoyed it. But it's your voice really sounds good, and you really sound like a young Larry Long. I mean that in a good way, At my age, my 7-note range is now down to 4 or 5. So it was nice to hear your mellifluous sounds and your voice back then.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
Was this a fun record to revisit for you, Larry?
Extraordinary, and also the songs where they come from. They come out of a very deep place, because in the 1980s, I was on the road almost 365 days a year, and I was not only traveling the entire United States performing, but Road to Freedom was written when I was invited to perform in Berlin, and I performed in both East Berlin and West Berlin. And I wrote this song while on a train to Leipzig, which was in the German Democratic Republic, or East Germany. And on the line in the song, one verse that I wrote, "We have been to both sides. Walls can't hold what love won't hide. Power talks. Papers talk. Powers lie. People, we know that road to freedom. We're on that road to freedom." And it was really a call out to the good people that were on the east side of the wall, and gratefully that wall came tumbling down. But during that time I was there, the East German government, they had like one record company, and they wanted to release my first album called Living in the Rich Man's World. And I was negotiating with them from their office, and right outside their window was the Berlin Wall. And I said, well, I would be happy to have it released in your country if I can control the liner notes.
Right.
And they said, why would you want to do that?
Yeah, nine.
I said, because one is I love my country. I don't necessarily love everything my country does, but I'm going home.
Right, no doubt. Hey, tell us a little about riding the rails with Fiddlin' Pete.
Oh, man. Fiddlin' Pete's going to be with us at the Dakota Jazz Club on January 13th. He's flying in from California to join us with Michael Bland on the drums and Jacqueline Alton on cello and Liz Draper on bass and Robert Robertson and all that stuff. But anyway, Pete and I in our 20s, we hit the rails. We traveled out west, and and I remember one time we were playing music from town to town. We'd show up, find an American Legion Hall or VFW, and just start playing on the barroom floor. And people would take us in sometimes for 1 or 2 months. And then I would write songs out on paper bags and with magnets, hook the lyrics onto the refrigerators, and we'd leave town. And we had people were so gracious, and it was the working class people that took us in. A lot of poor folks, working people, miners, lumberjacks, your rank and file people, which has really became kind of the foundation, I would say, of my life work, is loyalty to those people with those generous hearts, that took us in, gave us a place to stay when we were down and out. But we were in Missoula trying to hitchhike out, and we couldn't catch a ride, so we went into the freight yards to hop a freight. And the yard bull came up and told us to get out. And then we looked at him and said, "Would you like to hear the Orange Blossom Special?"
Right, there you go.
and we pulled out the guitar. Pete pulled out his fiddle.
Wow.
We played the Orange Blossom Special. He was so lit up. We were done. He goes, "Look, don't tell anybody I told you this, but that's the train you want to get on." And he goes, "And that's the boxcar you want to get in. And here's here's a piece of wood to pound into the door so that it slams shut when it goes over the Great Divide. Now get your ass in there and lay down. And we hopped in, and we took off, man. And as we were crossing intersections, I had my dog with me too.
Wow.
A dog's name was Dubious, and the late David Carr gave me an award for the best named dog in the Twin Cities. And we faked fist fights in front of intersections like we were in a cartoon. And I'll never forget kids in the back seat of their parents' car watching us, and their eyes lit up. They're pointing their finger. You could see them scream, "Dad, Dad, look at those guys."
Wow.
And then we went up, man, over the Great Divide, and it was the most sublime, beautiful panorama of this beautiful land that we have in the United States. Looking and then going over bridges that didn't have any railing, so I could look down 1,000 feet into river gorges, and then going through tunnels that were over a mile long, and it was extraordinary. But when that train came to a stop in Oregon, it shifted from the Burlington Northern to the Union Pacific. And the Burlington Northern has a history of being far more gracious to hobos and bums, Mm-hmm. But the Union Pacific does not have that history. And we tried to hop a freight south, and then we got slammed out of the freight yards, and it was back to our thumb.
Yeah. Well, it's something that...
So that's one of the stories, yeah.
Yeah, that's something you really have to kind of do as a young man, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
And, we grew up in an era that it was so much easier to do that, Paul. This generation now has a much heavier load to carry, and regretfully, there's such this paralysis of fear that has taken over with people that they've lost their trust in others and strangers. And I think it's our role as artists still to bring that trust and love back to the people, to realize there's nothing but fear itself.
Well, as a good friend of yours and a man I had a chance to hang with 2 or 3 times, Pete Seeger, I remember him telling myself and John Wesley Harding, we were sitting around playing the rehearsal before the tribute to Woody Guthrie at Case Western University. And you know how Pete used to speak in that really great New England accent. And he goes,
unbelievable.
Now, gentlemen, I just want to remind you, if you're singing and you have 5, maybe even 10 people in front of you, make sure they at least sing along on one song. So tell me about the first time you met Pete Seeger.
Well, I met Pete Seeger actually through the late Governor Elmer Benson, who was the farmer labor governor of Minnesota after Floyd B. Olson. And I was singing on the farm strike, the American Ag Movement farm strike, which eventually went on a tractorcade to Washington, D.C. with farmers and documented that entire trip. And anyway, I was singing in Appleton, Minnesota, and there was Elmer Benson, who was very elderly, leaning on a cane, and I sang a version of This Land Is Your Land, and he looked at me and goes, "You remind me of Woody Guthrie and Pete Seeger." And I looked at him and said, how do you know them? And then I found out he was a governor, and then he told me about the time when Woody and Pete came to Minnesota during the lumberjack strike, and they sang for the lumberjacks.
Yeah.
Right, and they sang for the lumberjacks, and then unbeknownst to me, Elmer called up Pete Seeger and told him about me and said, "There's this crazy guy that's running around like you and Woody did." And when I arrived in Washington, D.C. on a 100-mile-long tractorcade, that was like in 1988, 89, I get a phone call in the strike office, and they say, Larry, somebody's calling you. His name is Pete Seeger." And I get on the phone, and then Pete starts talking about him singing for the striking dairy farmers back in the Great Depression, and then he invited me up to his home. And we became close friends ever since. And a matter of fact, the first time I played music with him was at the Prom Center in St. Paul they were doing a tribute for Governor Elmer Benson, and Pete flew in. I had just returned from organizing farmers in Tennessee. He saw me. He put me up on stage with him. And when you're on stage with Pete Seeger, the room changes.
Yeah.
Seeing the world from the eyes of Pete Seeger fills one's heart with hope, because that's what he was about. I mean, when he got on stage, I mean, he had his dark side like all of us, and but he knew what his purpose and calling was, and he was abided by it.
It kind of, sounds like a cliche, but he kind of did teach the world to sing. I had the great folk singer Dar Williams, who lives in the Hudson Valley, on my show a few years ago. And she lived right up, not too far down the road from Pete. She told a great story about going to the hardware store one Saturday to see Pete Seeger buying a hammer. We're going to listen to a song by my guest Larry Long. This is called a song he wrote called Love Will Lay Hatred Down,
which actually fits into the whole thing about Pete Seeger, because I wrote Love Will Lay Hatred Down when I was on a Soviet American peace cruise down the Volga Mississippi River, and the chorus comes out of a Dene prayer, but the last verse is a verse for Pete Seeger to this song, and it's exactly about what we were just talking about with Pete. And specifically what inspired that was the Boise Peace Quilt that was made and woven and given to Pete for his work for world peace. And that's what this song is about.
Love Will Lay Hatred Down by Larry Long. And then one more set with Larry on the Wall of Power Radio Hour.
There's a woman from Japan, folding paper with her hand, singing songs of peace. Teaching the young, teaching the old, teaching the world how to fold paper cranes of peace, flying now. There's a girl in the park, making lanterns to float across the river on Nagasaki, Hiroshima Day. She lights a candle in the dark, hoping that it will spark peace the world around. Beauty before, beauty behind, beauty above, beauty below, beauty all around. Love will lay hatred down. Beauty before, beauty behind, beauty above, beauty below, beauty all around. Love will lay hatred down. There's a man in Red Square, passions to share with the one he's holding tonight. Kremlin wall, Lenin's tomb, change of the guard, iridescent moon, singing a song of love. Beauty before, beauty behind, beauty above, beauty below, beauty hatred down, beauty before, beauty behind, beauty above, beauty below, beauty all around. Love will lay hatred down. One stitch at a time from many old designs, a symbol of a world that must come. We will stitch this world together, yeah, don't give up, my friends, my love. Beauty before, beauty behind, beauty above, beauty below, beauty all around. Love will lay hatred down, beauty before, beauty behind, beauty above, beauty below, beauty all around. Love will lay hatred down, beauty before, beauty behind, beauty above, beauty below, beauty all around. Love will lay hatred down, beauty before, beauty behind, beauty above, beauty below, beauty all around. Love will lay hatred down.
Welcome back to the last set of the Wall of Power Radio Hour. This is your host, Paul Metza. My buddy on for the whole night tonight, Larry Long. He's got a new record just re-released from 1987 called Sweet Thunder. Beautiful record. And he's got a big show coming up on January 13th with his American Roots Review at the Dakota Jazz Club, downtown Minneapolis, 6:30 and 8:30 show. Tickets at dakotacooks.com. Larry, tell us a little bit about the show before we hear this last song off Sweet Thunder.
Well, we got two shows, 6:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m., and the 6:30 is pretty close to sold out, but the 8:30 show still has some good tickets. Plus, the second show tends to be the loosest and the most fun. But with American Roots Review, this is our 10th year celebration of American Roots Review, a matter of fact. And it got started 10 years ago with my buddy J.D. Steele and I. But on this show, we have Robert Robertson, Tanya Hughes Kendrick, myself, Barbara Cohn, Billy Steele, drummer Michael Bland, celloist Jacqueline Alton, Jeremy Irvasacker, Fiddlin' Pete, Liz Draper, and Alana Dickinson Gabe Anikwad, who's going to be opening the performance with a dedication to the water. So it's it's an exciting evening with a lot of really good music that moves from rhythm and blues to gospel to old time fiddle tunes.
It sounds like a wonderful evening of entertainment, Larry Long. Tell us where people can track down the new re-release of Sweet Thunder.
They can get Sweet Thunder at Bandcamp, under my handle, Larry Long. It's available on like all the digital platforms, Apple, Spotify, you name it, and you can download it and get it or stream it.
Tell us, number one, Larry, thank you so much for being with us, the first show of 2024. We wish you a lot of good luck, a lot of love, a lot of record sales, a lot of good gigs in the upcoming year. I hope to see you in person one of these days. But tell us a little bit about the song Water in the Rain. We're not going to be able to feature the whole song, but it's you consider it one of your greatest works. So introduce it.
There's an elder by the name of Amos Owen who lived on Prairie Island on the Mississippi River from the Dakota, Metawakanton community. And back when I was organizing on the Mississippi River, Amos would bring me into his sweat lodge, and we would do ceremonies for the Mississippi River and for the hope that one day it would flow clean. And Amos Owen is a direct descendant of those who were hung in Makato, Mankato in 1862 by Lincoln's decree when there was the war between the Dakota Nation and the United States because of treaty rights violations and also the Dakota people were starving, and the annuity payments were withheld because of the Civil War. So the war broke out, and there were going to be 303 Dakota hung, but Abraham Lincoln broke it down to 38. It was the largest mass hanging in U.S. history. And Amos Owen wanted me to write this song. He asked me to write this song with him, and together we did. And you will hear Amos's voice reciting the names of the 38 who were hung in Makato back in 1862, one day after Christmas.
Larry, thank you so much for all your great work. Good luck at the Dakota Jazz Club, and best regards for 2024.
Thank you so much. I have great respect for you. Travel well, my friend.
Thanks, Larry. All right, Water in the Rain by Larry Long.
Christmas time, think about those who have died crucified in the city of Makato, Mankato, back in the year of 1862, during the Civil War. Lincoln decreed the blacks would be free, but they hung 38 Dakota in the city of Makato, Mankato. And I listened to the rippling wind blow across the island. Listen to the elders speak of the young ones a dying. Shall we die like the buffalo? We ask of you, grandfather. Shall we run like water in the rain, in the land of many waters, water in the rain? Baba Shah, Shakopee, Little Crow, Big Eagle. Blanket pulled over their eyes beneath the churchyard steeple. 20 million acres of land sold for 3 million. jealous as a rope of sand dangling from the ceiling. In the year of 51, placed on a reservation by the winter of 61. Of starvation, protect the innocent, punish the guilty. Little Crow, he declared, what good is this treaty? Once a year the government gives the trader our money. Standing outside his door he'd grasp, if you're hungry. Down upon the trader's line, death came without war. He could not dodge. He grasped the very morning. 50 years of robbery, 50 years of intimidation, 50 years of bribery brought a war between nations. Shall we die like the buffalo? We ask of you, grandfather.
Thanks for listening to the Wall of Power Radio Hour. The show is produced by Paul Metza, engineered by Patrick Lilia. We'd like to thank our guest, Larry Long. And for all you music lovers, also, the Cedar Cultural Center kicks off its 35th year with a special concert on January 12th featuring rock, reggae, punk, ska favorites, the Mumblebugs. You can follow me at paulmetza.com. My books are for sale at finer bookstores everywhere. If you're ever up in Duluth, I play at the Blackwater Lounge every Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. right downtown in the Zenith City. And like my dad used to tell me, remember to be kind and make someone happy.